Good evening to you all. Today, we're going to talk about the first episode on Surah Yusuf, which is titled, Truly, Satan is a clear enemy to man. Man's clear enemy. This particular surah is a Meccan surah in its entirety, according to the consensus of the scholars. And honestly, I made sure to take a source. One single source for the entire story of Yusuf, or for the whole Surah Yusuf from beginning to end, and that is Imam al-Tabrusi. This way, there will be a unified perspective on the story as a whole. Alif, Lam, Ra. These are the verses of the clear book. The meaning is that the phrase Alif, Lam, Ra, the scholars actually differed about its meaning. Some of them said its meaning is that God sees. That's what it means. So this Alif means I. The Lam means God. The Ra means I see. Other people said no. These are just openers for the surahs. A third group said no. These are names of the surahs. A fourth group said these are names of God. A fifth group said these are names for the Quran. A sixth group, they said no, these are letters for miraculousness. A seventh group said these are ambiguous, and no one knows their interpretation except God. An eighth group said, no, these are oaths that God swore by. There are 10 groups. They said no, these are letters to challenge the Arabs. The important thing is, they never reached a definitive and clear interpretation of what these letters actually mean. Alif, Lam, Ra. 2 questions. What perspective should I adopt, or the interpretation I should follow when interpreting the phrase Alif, Lam, Ra? Out of the 10 perspectives or the 10 interpretations we mentioned, if I choose one, I will go with it. Why is that? The next question, the second question, which really caught my attention, is, these are the verses of the clear book. Okay, so what about it? I mean, my perspective is that this verse actually needs something to complete it, but it's left unfinished. It's like you're telling me, this great man. So what about him? This great man. These are the verses of the clear book. Continue, it guides to what is most upright. We have sent it down as an Arabic Quran, so that you may understand. The meaning is, here, God is saying, we, God, have sent down this Quran to you, O people, so that you can truly understand its meanings and realize that it is a new discourse, not something ancient, and that it is Arabic from God, and that you have been unable, whether you say you failed or you were incapable, whatever the case, to produce anything like it. So the question here is, it says, so that you may. Actually, the word so that you may, this word in the Quran, is one of those. That keeps coming up. It really caught my attention. So the question is, was it possible, since perhaps can mean both possibilities? Maybe yes, maybe no. So that you may understand. That's the point. It means maybe you will understand. Was it possible that the Arabs would not understand the Quran? And if the answer is yes, that it was possible for the Arabs not to understand the Quran, then why would God? Why would he reveal it to them? Okay, the other perspective is that he revealed it because he knows they will understand. So why does he say so that you may? The point here is to highlight. Here, we, God, we sent it down. Sent down what? The book, or the Quran. We sent it down as an Arabic Quran. So here, the speech is in the first person, so that you may. You, that's the second person pronoun. You're supposed to pay attention to this matter of pronouns. We, God, we sent it down. We, God, so that you all, O Arabs, may understand. The address here is from God, directly to the Arabs, unless he's speaking to the Prophet Muhammad. Notice, it's in the plural pronoun. So that you all, O Muhammad, as a form of honor and reverence. That's another story. But what the jurist is saying is that this speech is directed from God, using the first person pronoun, directly to the Arabs, without going through the Prophet Muhammad straight from him to them, so that you may understand. We relate to you the best of stories by what we have revealed to you in this Quran, though before it you were among the unaware. That's the meaning. We, God, clarify this to you through this revelation, O Muhammad. Alaik, this is for you, not for all of you, okay? Like the previous verse. No, hear it specifically for you. We, God, clarify this to you through this revelation, O Muhammad, the stories of the Quran. We explain to you the stories of the Quran. And there are people who say, no, he's not talking about the stories of the Quran. He doesn't mean the stories of the Quran. He means specifically the story of Joseph. Specifically. And the rest of the meaning says, and before this Quran was revealed to you, you did not know the rulings contained in these stories. The point to note here is that God is speaking in the first person, saying, we, God, narrate, we, God, again. As in we have revealed, we, God. So God refers to himself 3 times in the first person. In this verse, who is he speaking to? He is speaking to the Prophet Muhammad. To you, O Muhammad. And if you, O Muhammad. So here as well, the statement is just like verse 2 exactly. The statement in this verse is from God, a singular statement. When Joseph said to his father, O my father, indeed I saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon. I saw them prostrating to me. The meaning here is that Joseph is telling his father Jacob, who is Israel, he's telling him that he saw a vision in a dream, the night of decree. So what did he see? He saw 11 stars. The 11 stars represent or refer to his 11 brothers. These 11 stars came down from the sky and prostrated to Joseph, very clearly. And he also saw the sun and the moon. The sun and the moon refer to his father and mother, who also came down from the sky and prostrated to Joseph. The important thing is, there were other people. Some people say, no, the sun refers to his father. Yes, that's true, but the moon doesn't refer to his mother because his mother had died. She had died at that time. When he saw this vision, his mother had already died. The one his mother meant was named Rachel. So, the one meant is his aunt. As it was said by Those who narrate about Joseph and say that he said, because the nature, when you refer to someone as the speaker, it implies someone else is talking about them. Joseph said is very clear. So, who is speaking here? Who is saying it? When it says, Joseph said, it means God is narrating about Joseph. Thus, the statement here is not from God, it's from Joseph, as the Quran explicitly states. When it says, Joseph said, the statement is from him. Whom here? From Seth, not from God. And the one narrating about him is God or the Quran. He said, O my son, do not relate your vision to your brothers lest they plot against you. For Satan is to man a clear enemy. The meaning here is that Jacob is responding to his son Joseph. He told him, the vision you mentioned to me. Joseph, don't tell this vision to your brothers so they don't feel like you've received a revelation from God, or that you're going to become a prophet and your status will be elevated. That way, they won't start to feel uncomfortable around you and try to plot against you and harm you. The question here is the enmity, Satan's enmity towards humans, this enmity, is this enmity the will of God or the will of Satan himself? The second question is Satan a separate entity from humans, or is he the evil side within the human being himself? A note here, who is the one saying, he said, O my son, pay attention, there's someone here as well. I'll repeat it again and again and again. Here it is. He said, O my son, who is the one? He's talking about Jacob in the third person and says, he said, O my son, is it God who is? Telling the story about both of them, he said Joseph, he said Jacob. The second note is that the statement here is attributed to Jacob, not to God, and the narration is to God. And so your Lord will choose you and teach you the interpretation of dreams, and will complete his favor upon you and upon the family of Jacob, just as he completed it upon your fathers. Before you, Abraham and Isaac. Indeed, your Lord is all-knowing, all-wise. The meaning here is that the speech is still being addressed to Jacob, because in the previous verse, he warned him. He told him not to tell his brothers about this dream so they wouldn't become jealous of him and start thinking about harming him, because his status would be a bit higher than theirs. No, he would become a prophet. That's basically the story, very well. Here too, the speech is still being addressed to Jacob, the father of Joseph. Or Israel. Here, the speech is still directed at him, and he is still talking about God in the third person. That is, he is speaking about God, and God is relaying his words. Pay attention to this subtle distinction. So, what is Jacob saying, or what is Israel saying? What is he saying? He is saying to Joseph, Joseph, likewise God will choose you, just as he did. So here, Jacob is speaking to Joseph about God in the third person. Likewise, God will choose you, Joseph. God will teach you, Joseph, and God will complete his favor upon you, Joseph. His blessing will be upon you. That's it. I have to highlight this for you in a different color. Very good, and on. Jacob said, just as he completed it. So here, Jacob is speaking about God in the third person to his son Joseph. And God is conveying Jacob's words and making them verses in the Quran. There were in Joseph and his brothers signs for those who ask. The meaning here is that in the way Joseph dealt with his brothers, there is a lesson for others. Why? Because they plotted to kill him by throwing him, or tossing him, or casting him into a well. So when Joseph, naturally, as the story or the narrative says, forgave them when God gave him power over them and he treated them well. The question here is, who is talking about Joseph? Who is saying, there was in the story of Joseph? Here the subject is implied. That is, in Joseph, meaning, in the story of Joseph and his brothers, there are signs for those who ask. So who is it that says, there was in Joseph and his brothers signs for those who ask? When they said, Joseph and his brother are more beloved to our father than we are, even though we are a strong group. Our father is clearly in error. The meaning. Here is what. When Joseph's brothers heard, keep in mind, nothing stays hidden. When Joseph's brothers heard about his dream and their father Jacob's interpretation of that dream, they said that Joseph and his full brother from the same mother, that is, Benjamin, are more beloved to our father than we are. Why is that? Because Jacob, or Israel, used to favor Joseph, and Benjamin over the other sons. The other sons, because Joseph and his brother Benjamin were the sons of Rachel, while the other sons, whose children were they? They were the sons of Leah. Very good. So the other sons, the sons of Leah, they became jealous of him. And after this vision, after Joseph told his father about this vision and they found out about it, I don't really know how they found out, honestly, because his father warned him and told him not to tell them. So that means the father wasn't going to say anything, and the boy too. Joseph wasn't going to say anything, but somehow they found out. The important thing is, they became jealous of him once they found out about the visions. Their jealousy grew even stronger, and among themselves, they said, we're a group, so what? So, basically, there's nothing stopping us from tricking our father. Why? Because he strayed from the right path, and we deserve his wealth more. The question here is, it says, when they said, okay. So now, who is talking about Joseph's brothers here? A third-person pronoun is being used to refer to them. So, is it Jacob who's saying when they said, or is it God? That's one point. As for the clarification here, the statement in verse 8 is from Joseph's brothers, not from God. But the one narrating it is God, quoting Joseph's brothers, kill Joseph or cast him out to some land, so that your father's attention will be yours alone. And after that, become righteous people. The meaning here is that Joseph's brothers, especially Simeon, and some people say no, it was Reuben. He said to his other brothers, meaning the rest of them, the sons of Leah, they said to each other, should we kill Joseph, or leave him to wander in a faraway, distant land, and be rid of him forever? In the desert, far from his father, so his father wouldn't be able to find him or know his way. And some people said no, meaning some of them of the other brothers, he said, or maybe we could just leave him in a land where the wild beasts would get him, or he'd die of hunger, so that we could win our father's love and affection, and then inherit his wealth after he dies. Of course, they were talking among themselves after they found out that their brother was destined for prophethood, that he could interpret dreams and see things in his sleep, all of that, and they became jealous and envious of him. Then they said, after he dies and we take our father's money, we'll repent and become righteous people. These are the words of Joseph's brothers, and the narration is from God. One of them said, don't kill Joseph, but throw him into the bottom of the well. At the bottom of the well, so that some passing caravan might pick him up, if you're going to do something. The meaning here is that they were still discussing among themselves Judah, and some say it wasn't Judah, but Levi, and others say no, it was Reuben. Here's the one who said it, so it was one of them, either Judah, Levi, or Reuben, who said, let's throw Joseph into a well in Jerusalem. And some people said, no, it was them. It wasn't Jerusalem, it was in Jordan. And some people say, no, that well was between Midian and Egypt. We don't really know exactly where, but the important thing is, he said, let's put him in a well so that any of those passing caravans, meaning the travelers or those who walk on foot, so some of the caravans, and they fill up water from the well to drink while passing through the desert. They'll find him and take him with them, good, and they'll take him with them to a faraway place. So we get rid of him without killing him. That way, we're done first, we're rid of him, and we get our father's money after he dies, and we eat it, and whatever. And we didn't commit a crime. So they're sitting there, discussing among themselves behind Yusuf's back and behind their father, who? Yaqub. But still, what are we saying? He said, one of them, but we don't know who it is. Is it Reuben, or is it Levi, or who exactly? We don't know who's the one who spoke up, but one of them suggested that we throw him into a well, and whoever passes by to draw water from the well will find him there. He'll take him with him, and we'll be rid of him. So who is it that's speaking? It says, one of them said. Who is talking about this speaker in the third person? That's one thing. The second thing is that here, the statement is attributed to this speaker whom we don't know exactly who he is. I'll present to you a perspective. This is considered the Jewish perspective on the story of Yusuf, or Joseph. Let's listen to. Here are 3 or 4 minutes from our brother, Mr. Sharo Yarkin, sharing his perspective on the story of Yusuf.
The story of Yusuf wasn't complicated, it was simple, but it was very important for completing the biblical narrative and the Tanakhic vision for the end of the festival. So when Yusuf came to Egypt, he, became the second man in Egypt. And of course, maybe most Muslims don't know that his assistant and scribe was the son of Manasseh, and he was the one who struck Benjamin. That's why Manasseh wasn't blessed. His land was divided into 2 parts. The first point. The second point, the prophet from King Manasseh, who was named after Manasseh and took. The continuation of Manasseh's path was that he did what was evil in the eyes of the Lord and was not upright. What happened was that Joseph got married and had twins. The older was Manasseh and the younger was Ephraim, as the Torah tells us. And in this story, usually the younger one is the one who receives the blessing, even though primogeniture is something important in this culture and in this history. But when Jacob, when he blessed the children, he gave the first blessing to Ephraim. And when Joseph thought that his father had made a mistake because of his poor eyesight or inability to see, he tried to correct the position of his father's hands, which were crossed. So even though Ephraim was on the left side, still Jacob's right hand was on Ephraim. By doing this, he was saying that in the last days, Ephraim would have a role, and a great one at that. There's a meeting in the story in Genesis between Judah and Joseph in Egypt, when Joseph kept Benjamin with him, and they were accused of theft. To this day, the Jews say that the two kings are the kings of the end times, meaning the descendants of Judah and the descendants of Joseph. God had prepared for the second Christ, who is Jeroboam son of Nebat, and God used him as a card against Solomon's corruption. So because of his great arrogance, when he asked God, of course, I'm telling you this from the Book of Flowers and from the Talmud. When he asked God who would sit at the right hand of the throne, God, of course, was annoyed by his question. So God told him, the son of David. He replied, I don't need this, king. So from here, God rejected him and decided that the Messiah, who will come from his lineage, Jeroboam son of Nebat, will die at the end of days, unless the children of Israel pray for him and humble themselves greatly before God. So there's a chance that he might not let him die. That's why we find in the Quran that God and his angels send blessings upon the prophet all the time. All the time, this is repeated on the tongues of Muslims and Jews alike, the request from God that the meaning of prayer here is salvation, saving the Messiah, son of Jeroboam, son of Ephraim, son of Joseph. Another thing, my dear friends, from Jeroboam came a very important Tanakhite figure named Abijah, and from this child will come the Messiah, the son of Ephraim, who will prepare the way just. As Isaiah said, prepare the way of the Lord, the one who will prepare the way for the coming of the Messiah, son of David. So, the story of Joseph was very important in the Quran, just as it was very important in the Torah, because it even appears at the end of the book of Genesis, as if to say that it will be at the end, in the end of creation. Islam came in it represented the role of the Messiah, son of Joseph, or the Messiah, son of Ephraim, who wanted to prepare the way. And we saw how that Abd al-Malik ibn Marwan built the third temple in anticipation of the coming of the peaceful Messiah, the Messiah son of David. But of course, the divine promise was for 6,000 years, for 6 days, and the Messiah, son of David, will rule during the 7th millennium. That's why they rushed things.
Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next episode.